Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Sean.
And we're traveling the country in our blue van, showcasing different nonprofits to promote volunteerism across the United States.
This week we're in Pinellas County, Florida, working with Safety Harbor Art and Music Center, the Garden Fairies, Answered Prayers Cross, Harbor Dish, and the Edible Peace Patch Project.
We're just doing an interview. Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot for everything.
Thank you, thank you. SHAMc is Safety Harbor Arts and Music Center. Thank goodness it has an acronym or whatever you call that, because Safety Harbor Arts and Music Center is super long.
We set up a nonprofit about, it's probably been 2 years already now, just to kind of build a center that would bring art and music, and people can write in, and yoga and anything that's artistic, and it'll be a space that anybody can use for free.
SHAMc is such an incredibly awesome project, both for the Safety Harbor community but also for the entire area. And the plans involving both art and workshops and music and concerts, plus, you know, working with children as well, it's just such a wonderful thing to happen.
It's going to bring people from other areas to discover this little city, and it will make the other businesses in town thrive.
I really think the building will be an international phenomenon, because I don't know of anything like this with this much glitz to it.
In a creative space, I think you can nurture creativity a lot better if the space you're in is something cool rather than this, you know, like a classroom or something like that.
We enjoy being here. You cannot be unhappy and be here.
There's some men coming too. We got the women folk working today.
I was going to say, is Eric coming?
There isn't a paid person on staff. It's 100% volunteer run. So even if at some point like a director gets paid, it won't be us, it would be somebody else. So it's super important to our organization because it is all volunteer, everything. Just with the volunteers that want to help, you sent out an email yesterday or something and say we'd like to grout and do panels tomorrow. So today we had, you know, 10 or 12 people show up, you know, short notice that'll be willing to grout.
Everybody touched all of this stuff that's around here. We had the vision, but and then we orchestrate the application, but the helping make the parts is like calling like, all cars.
Yeah. The Art and Music Center is not even open. I mean, we already have a really strong base of you know, supporters and people that have helped on the center, and you know, kind of all walk, you know, little kids to, you know, we've had a couple 80-year-old people help us.
We've met so many really nice people from every different walk of life that you could imagine. And these are all friends mainly of Todd and Carolinda. So they've all gotten us together into big groups, and now we've extended our friend base. Carolinda's a great networker.
Oh, she is.
She is.
She'll put out a call for volunteers, and people will come over, they'll write, and they'll say, well, I'm not artistic, I don't want to, you know, do a mosaic. And then it's like, okay, well, all you have to do is the borders. And then the next time they're here, they get a little more creative, and then the next time they want to do one whole panel by themselves.
It's all this wonderful process that people become involved in. And Girl Scout groups might come, or Boy Scout groups, and all kinds of people want to help with this. And then once they get to see what they created up on the walls of the actual music centers, the Arts and Music Center will be amazing.
They're bringing a way for people to express their creativity and for people to be a part of creativity even if they don't feel they're creative. And the way they worded it was that SHAMc is going to be whatever people want it to be, and I love that idea. So it can be constantly moving and changing.
We're not big planners, so it's always just an organic, everything we do is a very organic journey. So it's like
all the people around us right now don't want that organicness, and we're like, this is what we do.
We never do any drawings for anybody. It's like, you know, some clients would always ask, can you do a drawing? And it's like, well, we don't really work like that. We'll just make a piece of artwork. If you like it, we'll put it up. If you don't like it, someone else will buy it. But they always end up liking what we do.
They're so childlike in their view of the world, how beautiful the sunrise or sunset is, or seeing a bird or whatever, you know, and they see art in it all. So I love that.
You've got to enjoy what what you do for a living, because we meet a lot of people that, you know, they make a lot of money, but they're miserable in their jobs. And then, you know, we've been happy doing artwork and that for a long time.
Todd and Carolinda have been a part of this area since they were young children, and everybody who's here knows about them, watched them grow up, watched them become big in our whole country, and yet they're still hometown people.
Started out with two other friends of mine, Ruth and Barbara. And Barbara was just building a house. It was just from scratch. She had nothing. So we looked around and we thought, oh my God, there's so much more to do here.
And then Siobhan said, hey, let's recruit some other women to work with us. And Barbara and I said, okay, well, if you want to do it, that's fine. And she did, and it just exploded.
The Garden Fairies are an artistic gardening group. We go to each other's houses and we do projects. And you put your time in, it's a co-op.
Are you trying to uncover that stepping stone?
Yeah, I'm gonna dig it up.
Oh, you want to help me? Yeah, sure.
Today we're helping one of our members who lost her husband 2 weeks ago. And everybody just came together and has been helping her in all different facets.
It became a really good core group of friends, very, very much of a family, and we help each other out.
Florida's transient, a transient place. A lot of us don't have family here because we've moved here from other places. So we are each other's family.
When you finish the project, you just get a wonderful feeling.
If more people got out and did that and helped people, their lives would be richer. And so we'll walk away from this event today and everybody will feel like, whoa, we're so glad we helped our friend out. You can make a difference because, people have such tragedies in their lives and sometimes you feel helpless. Well, you don't have to.
I like that, it's cute.
The guests do other things too. We're involved in charity events and creative projects. For example, painting beautiful Adirondack chairs for our little hospital in Tarpon Springs.
We help abused and neglected girls, teenage girls from the Brookwood home in St. Pete.
We also did a garden project with middle schools. We kind of adopted this class and they met us and we taught them how to garden, and we had a plot in Fred Howard Park.
We raised about $10,000 for the Mother Mears mural, and that was a huge effort.
And that was all, the group just wanting to, do something special.
I thank my lucky stars every day that I moved here, and that I've met this group of people who love to have a good time, and none of us want to just do lunch. That's not enough. That's so limiting. But getting together and doing things cooperatively and making things is really, really fun. And you walk away from a session after doing a session and you just feel good.
6 years ago, if you told me I'd be doing this, making crosses or talking about God, I would die laughing because only crazy people do things like that. Enter Prayers Cross is a global ministry that specializes in rebuilding our local communities one woman at a time. Each cross has been made by one person and glazed by somebody else. So every one of them has a story behind it. For me to make them, it would just be me. This ministry is not about me at all. It's about everybody else. Think about the message that you want to pass on. This kind of started up because I wanted on my birthday to give back to all the women that had made a difference in my life. Because if it hadn't been for them, I probably would not be alive today. It's those small random acts of kindness we do that make such a difference in somebody's life. So I started meeting more and more people that were going through difficult times in their lives. And you come into the studio and you give somebody a lump of clay and you say, okay, do something. And they go, I don't know what to do. But you hand them something like this and you say, here, just leave your mark on it. It's healing. And so people come in, and as you'll see tonight, everybody comes in, everybody's got a different message, a different feeling, a different idea of what they want to put on theirs. And there's just nothing more healing than working in clay.
I'm a cancer patient. I'm one of the people that they help out.
She helps cancer patients. She helps women. Phenomenal lady, just phenomenal. And working with her has been just a godsend, really has.
I've seen a lot of people that have came in with a lot of pain and sorrow in their heart, and just talking to different people and hearing other people's stories make you realize that everyone has something, so you're not alone. And sometimes you just need people to talk to who have been through stuff in their life.
So many of us, because of technology, we've become so isolated in our worlds, and we're getting more and more withdrawn. And when we stop and we talk to each other, we are each other's angels. So every time somebody comes in here, it's building them up. And if we can heal one woman, she's going to take it home to her family, and to her workplace, and to her community, and it'll just grow stronger and stronger.
I am a hairdresser, and one of my clients told me about her and her mom coming here after her mom's husband, her father, had passed away, and that it was a very healing experience for them. And so I thought it would be very nice. We had a sudden death in January, so I was compelled to come. And fortunately, my friend, she came with us, came as well, and we were just to see what it's all about.
Everyone that comes in the door, usually you don't know the other people that come in, but by the end of the night, you've all bonded and you've talked, and it's probably people that you would have never associated with or talked to outside of an event like this.
There are no strangers here. Everybody is a friend. And that's the way it should be in your community, to make people feel welcome, wanted, give them purpose, give them passion, give them a meaning in their life to continue on. And I think that's what we're doing here tonight.
You can feel that there is definitely a presence here, and working, God works in strange ways here, but it's beautiful.
Oh my God, my brother's going to make you scared because he's putting Cheerios all over the ground so the squirrels can come in here and scare you.
We are a social entrepreneurship community cafe, and we're in existence for the betterment of the community in any way we possibly can. We are going to be serving nutritious, wholesome foods at affordable prices. The idea is that some people will come in and pay the suggested price for a meal, and some people will pay it forward.
The concept of the community cafe started with a woman named Denise Soretta in Salt Lake City, Utah. She had a cafe, and one day she was wondering what would happen if she didn't charge for a meal. What would happen if I just said to my next patron, well, how much can you pay? So the next person that walked in, she did. And from that day forward, she never gave another bill out for food.
We're going to try to get most of our food sourced from local suppliers, local farmers, and vendors as much as possible. So if they call and they have an abundance of a certain product, like a tomato or an eggplant, we'll repurpose that food into wholesome nutrition for our community.
What all network cafes share in common is the pay-as-you-can model, the concept of organic, if possible, locally sourced food, the reduction of food waste, the buildup of food security in our communities, and the idea of a community table in every cafe where people who paid it forward, people who had no money and volunteered for their meal, or people who came in and simply bought the portion that they were pleased with, can sit at the same table in semi-anonymity and begin to exchange their views on the world and most particularly on their communities. It's very different than anything anybody's ever seen in terms of a 501c3, in terms of a cafe, in terms of the relationship between volunteers and a business organization. This isn't just, you know, come and put in your 6 hours on a Saturday. We want you to feel like this is home.
Yeah, everyone's fantastic. It's a family-oriented place to come, and there's something that just is appealing about breaking bread together, as they're saying.
The power of a dream seems to be a common theme with all of the community cafes across the country. Somebody had a dream about contributing to their community, and they bumped into the one world everybody eats concept in ways that are even hard to imagine.
I'm just so grateful to have found the Harbor Dish, organizations like Answered Prayers, Cross, where I met you, fine couple at, and a few other organizations in the area that I've become familiar with that are gracious enough to allow persons like myself who have undergone chemotherapy. It's a challenge to get back into a working environment. So it's just lovely that I have this opportunity to gain these abilities and enhance them even further and do it in such a loving environment with people that are gracious enough to allow me to do so and are grateful for the help. So it's a win-win situation.
The Edible Peace Patch Project encompasses what the youth needs here in St. Petersburg. It incorporates urban agriculture, which could one day translate into a job. It puts the idea that these kids can go to college, and these kids are all in Title I schools, so this is definitely something that's important to them.
The image behind me is a 15-acre urban sustainable farm that's going to grow enough food to serve 5,000 kids in 8 schools on the south side of St. Petersburg. They represent the most at-risk schools in the school district. They represent schools where we have a roughly 70% dropout rate among the boys, and we have nationally significant diabetes, obesity, and infant death. So our organization is designed to address those dropout rates and the diet-related health issues through what we kind of jokingly call a food system intervention. We are putting schoolyard gardens in all 8 of those schools, and in fact we have 7 of them done at this point. There's 1 more to go. And then in those gardens we do academic support. The kids come out and grow the food, but we're teaching them science and math and language arts. And we do food literacy, so we do a wellness kitchen. The kids harvest the food from the garden, they take it into a kitchen, and they learn how to prepare healthy recipes, and they learn what's healthy about it. So those kids will come out of those gardens, go to their cafeteria, and be able to select food that says Peace Patch Project on it. Nobody puts special projects in the schools that are most at risk. It ends up being parents in the good schools. And so let's just give this amenity to them. And we went out there and did that, and it was just supposed to be 3 weeks, and at the end of 3 weeks all my students wanted to stay, and they brought other students to the table, and they were suddenly less interested in growing organic food and more interested in these kids.
As a past volunteer, you form these relationships with these kids, and they remember your name, and they hug you when you leave, and I just really think it's good to foster college education at such a young age, and the Edible Peace Patch definitely encompasses all the good values that we should support here in St. Petersburg.
I had them start building lessons that connected to the standards, so that the students that were coming out, the elementary students who were coming out to the garden, weren't just gardening, but they were getting educated, and they were doing experiential education connected to what they needed to learn. And because we're focusing on the kids, I think we all agree it's not the kids' fault. On the farm, we're going to be working with youth offenders, the kids who've dropped out of school and have gotten themselves into trouble, helping them get their GEDs and then training them in the green economy, urban sustainable agriculture, green energy, urban food systems generally speaking, and a host of sort of entrepreneurial skills, because we want to stimulate the sort of social capital economic development that attracts capital. So we want to try to address poverty by creating opportunities for reinvestment and skills for reinvestment in a neighborhood that has been underinvested in for the last 40, 50 years. This is happening in St. Petersburg, Florida, but we think we have a national project here. We think that this is replicable in urban neighborhoods around the country, and that we hope over the next decade to not only show that it can be done here and can really solve a significant part of the social crisis and build social capital, but that this can be an alternative in communities around the country.
It will have probably one of the greatest impacts that we will see. I believe that test scores will go up with the kids will graduate. I don't know the percentage of dropouts, but it's a high percentage. So this is them putting in reality that they're expected to go to school to move on with their college education, and economically we're investing in the community. We're creating a higher education where people can put back into our local community and create jobs and money that definitely our community needs. And I think the public school system kind of gets backhanded a little bit, and I believe this is one way that we can help and contribute to the greater good.
It's a social thing, and we have to work together to create it, and we need rituals that make that happen. And a garden education is a place where you can create those rituals, and so in a sense cultivate sustainable values within a community itself. That's the big meta thing that this is all about. How do you make a sustainable society, right? You need individuals who are going to behave in sustainable ways. How do you do that? Well, we cultivate that virtue in them themselves. So that's what I'm trying to do with my college students and these kids at the same time.
Medical Peace Batch is just wonderful, and the people working in the organization.
Kip is awesome. Alita is beautiful.
Yeah, they have good souls,
very passionate
right track.
people. They speak. You could just tell, like, how much they care.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal.
Everybody needs to be involved in our communities all over the world, because like I said, we're in such an age of technology. We're getting more and more isolated in our worlds when we're driving in our cars and we're on our telephones and we're on our computers, and we're not talking to each other anymore.
It's how I've connected to people, and I think that's what makes me so happy, are those connections.
It's important on a variety of levels: networking, just meeting new people, enjoying new things, getting other viewpoints, and just coming together to create something, that other people can appreciate and perhaps want to get involved with.
For me, anything I do that's going to be fun, I make the time. Like, to me, this is fun because I love all these girls that I'm working with, and I like being outside. I'm a real outdoor tomboy, basically. And so you make time to do things that you like to do.
Especially in like a place where you care so much about. And me and Abby and I rather, right? We both love St. Petersburg. I think that this is a great place. This is like one of my favorite spots in Florida. So I think you have to really invest in the things that you care about.
For me, it's showing my kids that it's better to give than it is to receive, and to help others when you need it.
I just really enjoy the feeling that I get inside my heart giving to others.
If you see somebody with a need and you help them, that helps you. Basically, it helps you more than it helps them sometimes. So that's my philosophy in volunteering. Whatever you see, if you can help somebody, do it. Get out of yourself, get into somebody else.
Even if you don't have the money to give, you can always share a bit of yourself to someone else.
So I think it's important that everybody reaches out in whatever way they want, because we all have a skill and we all have a passion. So this just happens to be mine, but there's lots out there, a lot of great people doing a lot of great things.
I always lived by this one quote, and it's probably not the right, it may not be correctly in order, but Albert Pine stated, "What you do for yourself dies with you, and what you do for others forever is and remains immortal." So every day I try to abide by that and try to do something for the greater good, and still working a full-time job and going to school full-time, I still make the time, because you see it and you can go to bed with ease in the night.
What is all that you could ever want? Was all that you could need? Would you sit there for hours wasting your time, or would you find the nerve to leave? All these empty thoughts, they find me in my sleep. They sift through my days, eating away at the nerve. desperately need.
Hey, you can have another one that's Tinkerbell. You need to write your name with one of these. Write your name with one of these. There's pink, gray, blue, yeah, red.
Okay.
Pink, gray, blue, red.
Thank you.
So
Can I
which
wait
one?
till after I finish talking with Miss Amanda?